Hello everyone, welcome back to more AEW on TEW 2020. We are here on the third week of May, just 2 more weeks, well, one more episode of this until double. I don't know how to word things. There's next week, then there's double or nothing. That's what I'm trying to get at. We start off with our Dark and our BTE as Young Bucks do their intro. Then we have the Dark Order. They're actually, they have their segment, but they're actually this time specifically hyping up Brody Lee for the Casino Battle Royale that he is a part of. After this, Chris Bay is hanging out backstage when he's approached by Nancy Bouchard. Bouchard asks if she can join the VIPs Club because she's someone who needs to be fast-tracked to success. Chris Bay says that he's not really allowed to make that call, but he does admit that being the only full-time employee to the VIPs is a little bit busy, so he says he will talk to them about it, but also Nancy shouldn't get her hopes up because, in the end it's their decision. Then Devon Dudley is backstage, and he's trying to teach his son some of the intricacies of tag team wrestling. Laugh start as Billy Gunn walks over and begins to say that the Dudleys aren't even going to be the best father-son tag team combo once Billy's other sons have graduated from the Nightmare Factory. Devon ignores him for a bit, and then eventually, Billy and Austin Gunn point out that one of the Dudley twins has a broken wrist, but it still doesn't make the team any worse because, well, they suck anyways is the implication. And, Austin, he still kind of does it, but it's mainly Billy that's pointing it out. Devon is angry about this, but he walks away. And Austin's like, hey, was this actually necessary to do? And Billy's like, no, probably not, but hey, at least we got some screen time. So, there's at least a little bit of a silver lining. After this, Shawn Spears defeats Christopher Daniels with a perfect 10. Then he beats down Chris Daniels a little bit more. We do have a storyline going on with Christopher Daniels. I've kind of abandoned the Nat Murphy one because Nat Murphy kind of sucks. After this, Desmond Tello defeats Fuego del Sol. The Deadline ankle lock, that sounds cool. Nyla Rose defeats Reina Obscura. Gail Kim defeats a debuting Sophia Wyndham. Sophia Wyndham, a recent graduate of the Nightmare Factory. And then Killer Kelly slides the ring after the match, where she beats down Gail Kim, and eventually puts her into an armbar. Staff is eventually able to break up the armbar, but Kelly does give a stomp to Gail Kim's hand as she is leaving. After this, Michael Nakazawa greets the 3 new workers from DDT. We do have an excursion program with a bunch of different companies, and DDT is one of them. We have sent a lot of people out to DDT to learn, to get better at wrestling, to have more experience. And likewise, DDT has sent us 3 people as well. Arata Kawasaki, who, as we can tell by the picture, is a regen, Hideki Okatani, and Nobuhiro Shimatani. So, just very quick, just 3 real quick guys, they're in a 6-man tag match as they defeat Brendan Tate, Bukadao, and ZZ Loop. I didn't want to give... This is kind of just testing to see how they actually are in a match, and they're pretty alright. I didn't want to give any losses to people who are actually, on roster, so... After this, Charles Betts defeats Jonathan Gresham. Matt Sydal defeats Colt Cabana. Britt Baker defeats Kylie Ray. Shotzi Blackheart defeats Silesia Sparks. And then afterwards, she gets the mic and she asks anyone for help. Because, obviously, Tanil and Gianna had asked on the last episode of Dynamite. Sorry about that. And that's on the last episode of Dynamite for her to have a match. And Shotzi's like, hey, I need some help. I don't think I'm going to do well in a handicap match. He's kind of putting that out there. And then Jeff Hardy pins the Butcher. And they have great chemistry, which is interesting, I suppose. Our episode of Dynamite begins with the Private Party taking on the Hit Squad and actually losing when Des Xavier submits Mark Quinn. We did have Matt Jackson run in and attack Quinn, and Nick Jackson attack Isaiah Cassidy, we will get to the explanation for that right now. He's following a ref bump by Zachary Wentz with the intention of the Hit Squad beginning to cheat by using weapons. The Young Bucks hop over the barricade and begin to attack Private Party. Right away, they take down the Godfather. And then, before Mark Quinn can go for a hot tag, because, I'm imagining Quinn is in the ring, Cassidy's on the apron. Cassidy does see the Young Bucks coming in, but he's like, alright, we need to get this tag in now. But, Quinn, maybe he even, he's in the dive for the hot tag. Young Bucks pull him off the apron. They hit him with super kicks, even though, the ref's down. The ref's not actually going to be able to see the tag being made. Whatever. I didn't think that through when I was writing this. But, both of the Young Bucks hit Cassidy with a super kick. And then, Wentz and Xavier are prepared to do more, but they just kind of let the Young Bucks do whatever, because, it helps them get the win anyways. Young Bucks hit a Meltzer driver onto Mark Quinn, and then the ref gets back up. Xavier puts Quinn into a submission. Quinn taps out, and the Hit Squad get the win. The Young Bucks keep yelling at the Private Party that they won't forgive the Private Party for beating them time and time again. So even though Private Party does have their match up against FTR at Double or Nothing, the Young Bucks not going to let them go easily. After this, Chris Jericho is in the Inner Circle's locker room, and he still looks very irritated. He still looks very banged up from the beatdown last week. And, he calls up for Santana and Ortiz, both of them combined. He says, I know you were in the middle of a match before the attack last week, but why do you take you stupid idiots 3 minutes to show up? If you actually showed up a little bit, if you actually showed a little bit of care for Le Champion, you'd have made it in time to actually do something against those sons of bitches who work and hang around Pac all the time. What do you have to say for yourself? And Santana and Ortiz don't really have anything to say. They almost look like, they kind of have that look of the ejected dog, They're being yelled at by their owner, but Jericho eventually is like, you know what, fine, whatever, I'll leave it, but you're on thin ice. So Santana and Ortiz, things haven't been going well for them recently. After this, Jeff Hardy and El Hijo del Vikingo defeat Brian Pillman Jr. and Donovan Dijak. Lots of Brutality Inc. stuff right from the get-go. And that continues on, because before the pinfall is even finished, Pac grabs Vikingo off the apron and locks in a Brutalizer with the assistance of a kendo stick. Jeff Hardy still does get the win. He hits the Twist of Hate, and he gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. He notices that Vikingo isn't there to celebrate, and he's like, wait, something's wrong. He turns around, Killer Kelly's already at him. She's laying in a few strikes. Jeff pushes her off. He's obviously being a little bit gentle with it because, he's the face. He can't hurt a woman. And it still is enough of a distraction for Dijak to recover from him being knocked down to run in. He big boots Jeff Hardy. Pac enters the ring as Killer Kelly grabs a chair. She places it around Jeff Hardy's neck, and then Pac delivers a black arrow to the chair, seemingly crushing the windpipe of Jeff Hardy. Pac helps Pillman Jr. up before they all head backstage, as medical personnel come in, and they help Vikingo and Hardy out of the arena. And it says to a hospital they're being first brought to the medical room, see if the AEW staff can do anything about them, but otherwise they are ready to bring them to a hospital. After this, we see another video with a completely different setting. The audio for the video is what seems to be highlights. The video is rolling through heavily trafficked streets, and it doesn't take too long to realize that it's in Japan. It scrolls through some of the most well-known areas in the city, and it ends on one final place that lingers on. People who know the area will be able to tell, people who know what city this is will be able to tell. People who watch New Japan will possibly be able to tell from the final shot. I don't want to say where it actually is, because that could end up being spoilers. And I do want this to be a pretty big surprise. But the video cuts out audio, the audio completely quiet, and maybe even waits on this for a few seconds. And then you just hear the beginning of Bullet Club for life. That's it, that's your segment. So, another hint as to the identity of our next mystery person. Honestly, probably by this point we can figure out who it is. There's definitely some limited options, but we are getting just another video. By the way that I'm actually doing this is, obviously, his contract hasn't begun yet, but I'm just using the star quality of someone who has a similar star quality to this person. After this, Eddie Kingston is seen backstage with the rest of Blood Brothers, aside from Rey Fenix. I just didn't feel like booking it, or putting them in, honestly. And he says, "Look, Mox, I know you better than most. Right after the news came out, I saw it. People thought that you were the reason that Phoenix got injured, but you ain't. You're a better man than that. I know you wouldn't hurt anyone on purpose, because you're better than that. But people are still going to say that. People are still going to say that you caused one of the best wrestlers in the world to go down. I know better. I know you. John, come on. Don't act like this. We gotta team up. Come on, John." And Kingston, he's looking desperate at this point, almost. He's, yes, the Blood Brothers are good, but there's almost sort of a ceiling that he can get them to. Kingston, he wants more. He wants to, he's been with Moxley for a long time. They've shared their careers for a long time, so he's looking for this spark, this way to get further together with someone who he has been with for a while. This is a very angle-heavy show, as after that there's a commercial, return, and we see that Ashley Flair is sitting in the ring, and she has a mic in hand. Queen's Court are all around her. Flair begins to speak, and she says, "I am the queen of pro wrestling. I'm the daughter of one of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time, and I'm only a month out from a world title match. And now, I have no spot on the card at all. I'm not even scheduled for a match on Double or Nothing, while unimportant people like Shotzi Blackheart are given prime time pay-per-view visibility. I'm the biggest signing that AEW has ever had, yet I'm being treated like this." Nyla Rose's music then plays, and the Native Beast and Vicky Guerrero walk onto the stage. Vicky says, "Excuse me, I'm not going to do a Vicky Guerrero impression. No way. You are not the biggest signing that AEW ever had, because we have the Native Beast, Nyla Rose. Nyla is a former champion, while you're just some washed-up legacy wrestler. You want a match at Double or Nothing? You can go toe-to-toe with Nyla Rose if you dare." And then after this, Ashley Flair, she kind of dismisses this. She's like, "Whatever, you're unimportant as well." Tells the Queen's Court to go and to deal with Nyla Rose. Nyla powerbombs all three members of the Queen's Court before, kind of staring down Flair. Flair looks over, and she looks a little bit more irritated than anything else. Ashley Flair not really taking Nyla Rose seriously, but I did mention that I did want to have a few more matches. This is one that as you can probably see by the storyline title, real quick, this is just going to last up through Double or Nothing. After that feud's over. It's just to get another match on the card, at least have a little bit of build to it as well. Four new members of the Casino Battle Royale are announced: Brian Cage, Luchasaurus, Penta, El Cero Miedo, and Alex Shelley. Penta was originally supposed to be Rey Fenix. That's not happening anymore. After this, Jordan Grace defeats Ty Conti. They fall from Grace, and they actually have good chemistry. That's very interesting. I will keep that in mind. Anna Jay has been distracting Jordan Grace through this. During the match, Anna Jay is continually interfering on Ty Conti's behalf. However, before the finish of the match, Brandy Rhodes finally was like, "Alright, you know what, I'm done with this." She takes action, she starts beating down Anna Jay. Jordan Grace picks up the win. Brandy Rhodes, she doesn't even grab a mic, she just is yelling that she says her and Jordan Grace will take down Anna Jay and Ty Conti at Double or Nothing. Grace looks a little bit concerned, but Jay and Tay gladly accept the challenge, and they want to beat down the Nightmare Family even more. Jordan Grace, she's probably thinking what almost everyone's thinking: hey, if we're going to have the Nightmare Family lose, you're probably eating the pin. So, Jordan Grace, a little bit worried about her record, maybe even thinking a little bit of, hey, do I really want to be in the Nightmare Family anymore? Because one thing I do kind of want to do is I do want to look towards, getting wider pushes, I get, or like wider storylines, more storylines, getting people outside of these overbloated stables, because my Nightmare family is very much overbloated right now. I can do a lot more with a lot more different people. Same with the Dark Order. Dark Order makes a little bit more sense to have a ton of people, because, you know, they're kind of just cannon fodder for the most part, but working through, we're working down, see, hey, maybe Jordan Grace breaks away from the Nightmare family, and she gets a big push then. When initially the plan was that she would get the big push because she was part of the Nightmare family, but we will see how things advance from here. Again, told you there was a lot of segments. After this, Renee Paquette is backstage, and she is right outside of the medical room. She's interviewing backstage official Diamond Dallas Page about the status of El Hijo del Vikingo and, more importantly, Jeff Hardy, and if Jeff is able to compete at Double or Nothing. Page says, honestly, I really don't know, Renee. Both of them received some serious beatings from Pac, especially with the assistance of weapons. Bringing a few doctors in from outside the AEW system, from around Jacksonville, just as insurance. We obviously hope that Jeff and Vikingo will be fully healthy, even by next week. However, I will be talking with my other backstage officials, I'll be talking with Tony Khan, and I'll be talking with our new head of talent management about the availability for Jeff Hardy to participate in the TNT title match, as well as what measures to take against Pac as compensation for this attack, especially in the case if Jeff Hardy is unable to participate. So yeah, just kind of getting our road agents a little bit more involved. We have quite a lot of legend road agents, so DDP, I think he makes sense for this role as kind of a spokesman for the backstage, for the road agents, for the backstage officials. After this, Ricky Starks defeats Evil Uno. Yeah, pretty good chemistry. And then, Team Angle comes to the ramp after the match, and they're just there to intimidate Taz and Starks. FTR watches one entrance, Bets and Sabre watch another entrance, Layla Hirsch is with Kurt Angle, making sure that no attacks come through. Kurt and Taz begin yelling at each other. They don't have mics, they're just kind of like, you know, they're trading between, hey, who's the better technical wrestler, who's the better coach, who's better in their career, who's worth more. Really just going at this feud, continuing on. There's no physical confrontation. Kurt eventually is like, you know what, whatever, I give up. We'll see how things go at the pay-per-view. And out he goes. After this, vignette begins. It kind of like segued from that last segment into this vignette. She's shot of skateboards wheels for the foot propelling it. Is shown to be a fancy loafer instead of some tennis shoes like you would expect from a skateboarder. Skateboard abruptly stops, and the camera zooms out and pans to show that MJF is still in a suit. He still has the world title around his waist. Says, Darby, you think you're this edgy person, this epitome of the mid-2000s emo grunge culture. Listening to whatever shitty bands were around back then while doing sick tricks on your skateboard. Sorry about that. You think that you're someone who actually matters. Someone who's relatable because, as you have so eloquently tattooed on your chest, nothing's over till you're dead. It's honestly a bit amusing, seeing how far you'll try to get yourself over, see how much you'll try to die out there. Look, Darby, we're almost the same age. I probably grew up with the same things you did, or at least I grew up on the same, but better. But you're someone who doesn't have skill, doesn't have talent, doesn't have worth. All you do is make things a spectacle. You paint yourself because it's what you need to do to stand out. You get tattoos almost as shitty as the one on Cody's neck because you need to scrounge every last scrap you can in order to get yourself noticed by someone. You know who doesn't need that? Me. The AEW World Champ, the one who dethroned God, the only person that's been here long enough to matter with an unbeaten streak. Honestly, there's not really anyone else in AEW that goes to the lengths to try to make yourself matter. Except, well, of course, the Young Bucks in their matches, or Cody's entrances. You want to be this icon of this. You want to be like Sting, this brooding character who still manages to be the hero above all. This face-painted vigilante. But you're not. While you're out there trying to inspire people like Sting, trying to be one of the people like Sting, you're ending up closer to a demon Dale Torborg. Just going to be forgotten for being everything except for a failure with a strange and stupid look. But sure, you can do whatever you want to do, Darby. You can skate around, you can paint yourself up, you can tattoo whatever the mind of a 12-year-old who never got past his goth phase wants. You're dealing with someone of the highest caliber. You're dealing with the Godslayer. You're dealing with the greatest damn wrestler in the world, the greatest wrestler that ever is, or was, and ever will be, the most important person this business has. I'm not just going to lie down for some skater boy with a death wish. Nothing's over till you're dead, huh? Well, I suppose that just means you're gonna have to be content with either changing that tattoo or dying, Darby. Because you can't be me. Your match, your push, will be over eventually. When I defeat you in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, because I'm better than you, and you know it. So MJF just really going in on Darby. This might have been my favorite promo to write so far. I always love writing MJF's promos. I feel like if I ever got into wrestling, I would kind of be a character similar to MJF. Obviously, I don't think I could be as good. You know, MJF definitely has way better of a way with words than I do, way better on the mic than I do. Yes, I am an MJF simp. I am great at words. I am an MJF simp. I won't deny that, but I definitely feel like I would be in the mold of that kind of character, so I can write these promos real easily. I love writing for MJF. I'm so glad I made him the champion. Yes, it might have been a little bit early to give him the belt, but I don't regret it a moment. After this, the Motor City Machine Guns defeat the Future. Now Shelley pins Donnie Lambert with an underarm snap STO. He's kind of getting some more Dynamite time for the Future, even if it is in losses. After the match, it cuts to backstage. Lance Archer is holding the Impact Tag Team titles up. Of course, Motor City Machine Guns are the Impact Tag Team Champions. Jake Roberts is talking into the camera. He says, "You've always got to watch your step, Shelley. You're messing with the only person that the Murder Hawk monster Lance Archer respects. You're trying to ruffle the wrong feathers, and you'll be losing out on your own hard-earned titles for that. You want to mess with Matt Sydal, you want to mess with Lance Archer, you want to mess with the vision that we have for this tag team division, then you better be prepared to face off against the Murder Hawk monster." And then Jake Roberts just kind of laughs as he and Lance walk off with the Impact Tag Team belts, and Matt Sydal is following close behind. Kind of wish that I knew more about the Motor City Machine Guns to do something other than just taking their titles, especially because they're not our titles, but whatever. And our main event, Shawn Spears picks up a huge win over Cody Rhodes because Brody Lee came in and attacked Cody. Brody stands over him. This is going to be a terrible show. Absolutely terrible show. He stands over Cody, starts yelling at him, and Brody says that, yeah, this war is going to be over, because not only is he going to eliminate Cody, but he's also going to win the Casino Battle Royale and do something that Cody never could, and that's win the AEW World Championship. Weak show rating-wise, not too many good matches. I always kind of blow the load, so to speak, in terms of go-home shows. I always have go-home set up too early. So, again, bit of a weak show here, but I still think very good terms of story progress. I loved the MJF promo. I loved writing that so much. I love writing MJF promos. I already know I talked about this before, but still, some good angles here. This was a very angle-heavy show. I mean, we had this, 5 angles in a row. Technically, this one's only 2, but it's 2, but it's a really long angle for MJF. But yeah, it's I'm so proud of this. Again, not our best rating, but I still think that it's good. I could already tell it wasn't going to be a good rating because of how many people were here, but that's besides the point. We will continue on with the next week, which is our actual go home for Double or Nothing.